You build a shell after a while. When you've been through something like this, you learn very quickly that you have to protect yourself, and sometimes that can come off as being hardened by it.
It all started as a routine traffic stop late last night.
Even to this day, it's difficult for me to think about. There are still some things that I never got back after that night. And I know now that your life can change just like that.
This is a photograph from one of the ATM machines at the drive-thru from the bank surveillance cameras. The ATM cameras only took one picture every 14 seconds. So the 14 seconds in between the pictures, you couldn't see what was going on. It was very difficult to watch the footage because I knew what had happened there. It was very difficult to see that happen to your friend and to a coworker.
Very difficult to listen to. The image of him choking on his own blood with a gunshot into his face is the image that burns in my head that will never go away.
Every time I saw Martin in his uniform, it made me smile because he was just so handsome in it. And you could see how proud he was to wear it. He loved being a police officer.
Hello?
On December 27th,
Hey, sweetie.
he called and said, look, I think I'm going to go ahead and work tonight because my nephew is here and I want to take him on a ride along. Martin's nephew was 12 at the time. Martin knew that there were a lot of temptations for kids, especially those entering their teen years, and he just wanted to make sure that his nephew was clear about what was right and what was wrong. And that was exactly what he said to me. And he said, I just wanted to give you a call and tell you that I love you. I'll give you a call a little later. And that was the last time that I spoke with Martin.
Even though it's been 26 years, the anxiety is still there. The thoughts are still there. Sometimes the nightmares are still there. 1993, I had been on for just over a year with Manhattan Beach Police Department, and I was working as a patrol officer. Martin, at the time, was really my mentor at everything that he did in life as a person and as a police officer. On December 27th, I went out to patrol the city, and all of a sudden, some screaming started to come over the radio. I didn't understand that at the time. All I heard was screaming on the radio. Very difficult to listen to. But it brings back other emotions. More emotions of anger than sadness. Because I know what the rest of what occurs after that. Because I was only a block and a half away, I turned on my lights and sirens and started heading directly for the mall. When I pulled into the mall, I didn't know what I was going to find. It was dark, but the red and blue lights caught the corner of my right eye. And I looked to my right and I saw a police car with its overhead lights on. I could see that it was Martin's car, and he was laying down behind his car. Like, oh my God, what has happened? I ran up to him. He was laying face down in a pool of blood.
I got an officer down. I repeat, an officer down.
Basically unable to breathe because he was just sucking in blood. It was very hard to believe what I was seeing. I turned Martin over and his face was unrecognizable. He had a bullet hole in his cheek. I had no idea at that point whether Martin would live or die, but I knew it was bad. To see Martin in that situation, it was something that I'd never thought I would see in my life. The pain that I saw, that's the hardest part to talk about, to describe. I wish I would have told him that I was there for him, because I don't know if he knew, if anybody was there for him. I just only hope he felt me holding him, but I don't know. I looked over and saw Martin's nephew, uncontrollably screaming. He would look at his uncle and just scream. I was looking at Martin and seeing him dying, and looking up and seeing his nephew screaming and needing help. The police officer inside of me was completely torn. And that's when I had to physically pull Martin's nephew to the side to get him away from the image of what he was seeing.
I was at home asleep when the phone rang a little after 11 o'clock on December 27th. It was one of our civilian employees calling me and told me that there had been a shooting and that Martin Ganz had been shot. So my question to him was, is he okay? And he says, it doesn't look too good. Martin and I were friends, and my heart kind of sunk down. You know, I was just praying that he would survive the shooting. But then, you know, I got to focus in on what do I have to do to go find that guy that did this. As a detective sergeant, it was my responsibility to go to the scene to start the investigation. And so I quickly got dressed and I went out to the scene at the Manhattan Village Mall. When I pulled up to the scene of the shooting, Martin had already been transported to the hospital. I walked around to look at whatever physical evidence may have been there. I saw 3 shell casings on the ground between the front and the back of Martin's police car. And then I saw a pool of blood on the back behind his car on the ground where Martin had fallen. It was a very distressing moment to see the amount of blood that was on the ground because I knew how bad my friend had been hurt. Just had to get to work and focus in on what had to be done in order to get this investigation underway. And we didn't have a suspect. In my opinion, if somebody's going to shoot a police officer that's in his full uniform, they're going to take a civilian and shoot them without a second thought as well.
As we started taping off the crime scene, I was really still in shock. One of my sergeants came over to me and he said, Martin's dead. It was just absolute grief. The image of him choking on his own blood with a gunshot into his face is the image that burns in my head. It will never go away. That just made an unrealistic scenario to a 23-year-old officer with not much life or patrol experience. It really stunned me. That's when it hit me that things were never going to be the same for me.
It was a little after 1 o'clock in the morning. My phone rang. When I answered it, I was shocked by the sound of Martin's younger sister screaming, Martin's been shot in the face, he's dead. I can hear the panic in her voice. Beyond panic, it was terror. And no matter what, I will always be able to hear that. Right now it brings back that gut-wrenching feeling in the pit of my stomach when you know that your life is about to change drastically and is not going to be the same ever again. I kept insisting, please, please take me to the hospital. I need to be with him. This officer literally put his hands on my shoulders and gently pushed me onto a chair, and then got down on his knees so that he was looking me in the eyes and said, "Pam, he's not Martin anymore. Now he's evidence." I just kept thinking that if it had been me, he would have done anything possible to be there for me. And that was what I had in my head, that we promised each other we would never let the other one be alone. We committed ourselves to each other, and I was not being allowed to fulfill my end of that commitment. At that time, I not only felt helpless, I felt vulnerable, I felt deflated, I felt incomplete. I didn't know where to go. I didn't know what to do. I didn't know who to turn to, because the one person that I would have looked to and turned to wasn't there for me anymore. This was someone whose hand that I held, whose face that I touched, whose eyes that I looked into, and that I had every intention of taking care of forever. And now suddenly, he was gone. There were emotions going through me that I could not come to grips with because I had never felt them before. Even to this day, it's difficult for me to think about. There's something there that I wished I had been able to just say goodbye to him.
The next morning, myself and the other detectives went to start interviewing eyewitnesses and to try to develop a profile of who the suspect was so that we could do what we could to track him down.
Listen, you got to tell me everything you saw.
As a result of what happened that night, Martin's nephew was very afraid that the suspect was going to track him down and kill him as well for being a witness to what occurred that night.
What if he finds me?
He is not going to find you. I promise.
He was very cautious about talking about some of it because of his fears, but we were able to get the answers to the questions that we had. Martin's nephew had described to us that Martin had approached the car and that he was talking to the driver of the car for a period of time, maybe a minute or two, when the guy had reached over and then shot Martin. He ducked under the dash of the car to try to get away, and he heard 2 more gunshots go off. And he heard Martin fall to the ground. He peeked back up to see what was happening, and then he saw that the suspect had a shooting stance and was pointing his gun at him. So he ducked back down underneath of the dash of the car. And then he heard the suspect get back in the car and drive off. And at that time is when he grabbed the radio to call for help. The Sheriff's Department had a forensic artist come down and create a sketch of the suspect. The nephew of Martin Gans did a good job of describing to the forensic artist what he saw that allowed her to create this sketch. We just knew it was a male Asian, probably in his mid-20s, with short dark hair. So that gave us an idea what the guy looked like. The next morning, we reached out to the banks that were along Sepulveda Boulevard to see if they had any video at their ATMs. And we found that they did have ATM cameras that were working. This is a photograph from one of the ATM machines at the drive-thru at the bank where Martin Gannis was shot and killed. Although it shows a picture of the car, shows a picture of Martin on the ground, it did not show a picture of the suspect approaching him or shooting him. The ATM cameras only took one picture every 14 seconds. So the 14 seconds in between the pictures, you couldn't see what was going on. It was very difficult to watch the footage from the ATM cameras because I knew what had happened there. In reviewing the video footage from the ATM machines, it only took pictures of the back quarter panel of the suspect's car from one angle, and then as they were driving up, it took photos of the front of the car as it was approaching where it eventually stopped. So we didn't have a picture of the entire car. We didn't really get an image of the suspect himself. It was very challenging, to say the least. It was almost like trying to find a needle in a haystack and not even knowing what the needle looked like to find it.
I think that I was numb at that point. I didn't think that I had any more tears left in me. I had no idea what I was going to see. His car was gone at that point, and there was no police tape up. And it was just a parking lot again. There was a spot on the ground. And I just immediately envisioned Martin lying there, helpless. And that was really when I came unglued. I remember I basically fell to my knees and seeing what I believed to have been blood on the ground just made it very real. Oh my gosh, he really did get shot and he really did lose blood and he really is gone. I just felt his loss became very real to me. Martin and I had been engaged for 18 days when he was killed. Here I am in a church, and instead of celebrating my wedding day in a church with him, instead I'm looking at his flag-draped casket and not understanding how it could possibly be that I will never see him again. When it was just me standing next to his casket, holding a rose, it felt like that night, just a couple of weeks earlier when he proposed to me. And even though there were all kinds of people in the room, it was just he and I.
Martin Gans is the first Manhattan Beach officer to be killed in the line of duty. His fellow officers saluted their fallen brother with tears in their eyes.
Helicopters flew over the ceremony in formation.
But perhaps the most emotional moment was when they handed Gans's hat to his nephew. Children were always special to the fallen officer.
Yeah, it's hard to watch. Takes me back to 1993. Being sad, crying that day, crying now, and getting angry again. I wish it never had happened. I experienced a whole range of emotions because I wasn't showing my emotions at work. They were coming out at home. At the time, I was a 23-year-old cop who, in those days, you're told to suck it up and move on. Nobody ever physically told me that, but that's just the way it was then. And I went to see the psychologist. I basically blew the person off, thinking, you're not a cop, you don't understand what I just went through. Why am I wasting my time with you? Which would end up being the biggest mistake of my life. What I needed was somebody to talk to. But what I was doing was going out and drinking with those of us that were there that night. We were all trying to escape our thoughts. All of us had anger in this person that killed our friend. All of us had sadness that he's gone. All of us wanted revenge. We would take that piece of paper and we would rubber band it to the sunshade over our head in the driver's seat of the police car. So as we drove around during our shift, we could easily look up and see who we were searching for. The adrenaline rush was scary. And images started flashing back in my head of Martin on the ground bleeding to death. And so there was adrenaline, there was anger, there was fear. Is this him? Is this the killer? I wanted to find this person.
According to eyewitnesses, the suspect was an Asian male in his late 20s. This sketch has been distributed to law enforcement agencies across the state.
You know, certainly a crime like this, of having a police officer killed at Manhattan Beach, was a really big deal. And the public wanted to help solve this case probably as much as we did. That was demonstrated by, the calls that we got to the police station. And I don't recall how many we'd get every day, but we ended up with over 2,000 tips during the course of the investigation. We had to go chase those people down and figure out, did they do it or not? It was overwhelming to try to follow up lead after lead and not knowing every time you're following up with somebody, you're potentially going to go contact a cop killer. My preliminary thought was that somebody, the very first time they commit a crime, is not going to shoot and kill a police officer. The first thing that you would look to would be for violent felons. People have shown a propensity to violence in the past. There was about 4 or 5 people that we set off to the side to look at in further depth. One of the tips received on the tip line was about a guy named Roger Brady. and they described him as being an Asian male in his mid-20s with a resemblance to the composite. And our investigation showed that he had a prior record of doing bank robberies. So we assigned a couple of investigators to investigate that particular clue. And they went up and eventually did some surveillance of him, followed him around for a little while. Roger Brady resembled the composite description, and he had a Daihatsu Charade. There was a lot of things that lined up to say that he's the right guy. This could be the guy that shot and killed Martin Ganz.
What exactly are you looking for?
So the police department went over there and put up a surveillance on Roger Brady's house and ended up talking to him and doing a search of his house.
Mr. Brady, where exactly were you at 11 p.m. on the night of December 27th?
He did allow them to search his bedroom and his common areas.
Just here watching TV.
Didn't see anything out of the ordinary as far as his behavior was concerned. And investigators could not come up with any conclusive evidence one way or the other to either implicate him or to exonerate him. It's very difficult because when you're interviewing a young person, you have to be careful on how you ask questions, because Martin's nephew is still quite concerned that the killer was going to track him down because he was a witness. And that's a real concern of his that he had, and he was quite frightened as a result of it.
Listen, I'm going to show you a few photos. I want you to let me know if any of these guys look like the guy you saw that night, okay?
Unfortunately, at that meeting, we were not able to get a definitive identification of Roger Brady. It's pretty frustrating not to have some solid leads to look at and to know where you're going as far as down your investigative path. And you look back and go, is there something we missed?
I was frustrated by that point that we hadn't found this person yet, and that I was afraid someone else would be killed by this monster. On a personal level, I just wanted him caught either way, dead or alive. I felt that when the time came, no matter how it went down, I knew it was going to be violent. For a man to point blank shoot a police officer and then execute him, to me, was somebody that was not going to be easy to arrest. This person was going to go down in flames.
Why did you use the word execute?
Because Martin was executed. He tried to flee for cover, but the suspect followed him, stood over Martin, and executed him at point blank range. As a friend of Martin and as a police officer, it makes me feel angry.
This picture was taken after we had been dating maybe about 3 months. And I mean, we were both just so happy. And there are some photos, and most of the memories are just tucked away in my heart. When Martin first walked into my life, he came into my work and we started talking, and there was just something about him. I didn't know exactly what it was, but there was just something about him, and I knew that I never wanted to forget his name. So after he left, I wrote his name down on a small Post-it, and I put that Post-it in my drawer. And I still have it. And I always will. I'll never get rid of that. I will always keep that.
You just sit back and reflect on what happened and start thinking about, what have we maybe missed? So those are kind of difficult reflection moments at the time to look back and say, how come we haven't found this guy yet?
Detective Leaf.
The suspect, an Asian man wearing a ski mask, pulled a gun and forced the employee to hand over his cash.
He had a Daihatsu Charade. He had a .380 pistol that was recovered, and he was an Asian guy in his 20s.
He then shot a woman who had just purchased some milk on the way home for her daughter.
There was a lot of indicators that he may be our suspect.
Going through the murder of someone, you face things that you don't understand. And for me, I didn't have it in me to understand that someone could actually do this to anyone, let alone someone like Martin, who was simply larger than life. There are still some things that I never got back after that night. My sense of I'm going to wake up tomorrow and everything is going to look the same way that it does today, I don't have that anymore, because I know now that very clearly tomorrow is not a given, and that your life can change just like that.
We got a phone call that Roger Brady had been arrested up there for a supermarket robbery where he had shot and killed somebody with a .380 pistol. We went up to Oregon to follow up on our investigation, brought our forensics firearms expert up with us to test the gun that was recovered up there. Those shell casings from that gun definitively matched the shell casings that were at our murder site. The gun that Roger Brady got arrested with was the gun that had killed Martin Gans. It was pretty clear that we finally had our killer. Knowing that we had investigated Roger Brady back before he committed his other crime up in Oregon was a bit frustrating for everybody involved, including the investigators that talked to him the first time, because there just wasn't enough indicators there to make an arrest. It was a relief that we had found him finally, but it was also a very tragic way of it occurring. It was very heartbreaking that he had continued on his crime spree, and he had killed one person and tried to kill another person before he was brought to justice on our case.
I'd rather not look at this photo. There's nothing good to say about it. That's just an empty soul that knows no love, knows no feelings. This is not a picture I want to see. My impressions of Brady is just an empty, cold-hearted killer. That's it. I don't know who he is. I don't want to know who he is. I think about Martin often when I look at my sons, and I think, what would Martin do in this situation? Because he would have been a far better dad than I could ever be. I really wish I could have seen him as a father. When they say the good die young, that is 100% true with Martin. Martin had a heart of gold, and he showed me what I wanted to be as a person.
I think that my lowest point was the day after the first anniversary. People kept telling me that just let a year go by. Just after a year, it'll be different. So on December the 28th, 1994, when I woke up and I didn't feel any different than I did the day before, that was really hard for me. I didn't feel better. I still hurt. I was still alone. Martin was still gone, and it was still very hard. What if Martin hadn't been killed? What if we had gotten married? Would we have 3 kids? What would they look like? Of course I think about those things. But what I don't do is dwell on those things. Because I also believe that all roads lead to where I am right now. And I am who I am today in large part because what I went through during that time.
It all started as a routine traffic stop late last night.
Through the years, my feelings of being in that parking lot have morphed into something different. At first, it was a bit difficult because I knew that he spent his last living moments there. Now it's almost cathartic for me because I know that he was there. There are several memorials to Martin throughout the city of Manhattan Beach. There is one specifically at the location where it happened, and that's the one that every year at 11:05 on December 27th, every year since it's happened, I'm there just because I feel that that's where I need to be. This last year, there were probably 70 police officers that showed up to show support for Martin's memory. And I remember looking out at the crowd of officers and thinking, some of these officers were not even born in 1993, and yet here they are. And my focus then became, I need to completely educate these people on Martin, who he was, what he stood for, and how he lived, which was just as important, if not more, than how he died. And so that's my focus now.